Autumn Air Show. Here goes Anna Walker in the Historic Aircraft Collection's Hawker Hurricane 12. And following her, Carolyn Grace with her Hurricane Spitfire. This take-off opening our salute to the Air Transport Auxiliary. To the left, you can see in formation now Mark Miller in the Dragon Rapide and John Corley behind him in the Avro Anson. Both of these types used as air taxis by the ATA during the Second World War. A lovely pairing of British designed and built light transports. We talked earlier about the history of this Dragon Rapide, owned by Mark Miller and his father David, and rebuilt by them and various helpers over a period of 27 years. This particular example, built by de Havilland at Hatfield in 1941, and it initially entered RAF service as a Domini. That was the name for the military version of the Dragon Rapide, with number 1 camouflage flight at Hendon in North London, today the home of the Royal Air Force Museum. But in late 1943 it was transferred to the Associated Airways Joint Committee and assigned a civil registration when it went to the Northern Division of Scottish Airways, flying scheduled flights between Inverness, Orkney, Shetland and Stornoway, as well as ambulance flights. Passengers included many military personnel stationed in the Scapa Flow area, so it played an important role in the war effort, and it wears those Scottish Airways colours today. After the war, the Rapide went into civilian service with British European Airways and was then used in the 50s for joyriding by Island Air Services, as I mentioned earlier, set up by the former ATA pilot Monique Agazarian. It served also as a parachute jump platform based at Thruxton and Halfpenny Green before being allowed to fall into disrepair at Biggin Hill, and it was there in 1975 that some early members of the Duxford Aviation Society noticed the aircraft decaying. They were there to remove some cabin trim from a Bristol Britannia, for the example that can be found now at the airspace hangar here at Duxford. It was flown here in August 1975. A strip down of the airframe in 77 showed that it was in awful condition, and there followed a lengthy restoration purchased by David and Mark Miller in 1986. To give you some indication of how long it took, when that rebuild started, Mark was a schoolboy. When it finished, he got a PhD.
Now the Dragon Rapide epitomises the airliner of the 1930s, very much the Poirot era, and in fact you can fly an aircraft such as this from Duxford. Classic Wings operate 2 from this airfield for pleasure flights, and if you'd like to go flying with them you can, just drop by the marquee which is embedded in their building.
The Anson T-21 of the Air Atlantique Classic flight. The Anson, a very notable aircraft in the history of the Royal Air Force because it was the first RAF monoplane with a retractable undercarriage, although it did require something like 140 turns of a hand crank on the Anson Mark I to get the gear in. Nonetheless, it was quite a technological achievement for the day, entering service with RAF Coastal Command in March 1936, specifically 48th Squadron at Bicester. 26 Anson squadrons in coastal and bomber commands were equipped with the type at the outbreak of war. Later it served as a multi-engine trainer and was used extensively by the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan. Production for that role also Canada. 11,020 Ansons were built. This is one of just two in airworthy condition in the Canadian, the civilian Avro 19 variant, owned by BAE Systems and based with the Shuttleworth collection. This particular one was built in 1950 for training command as a T-21 and entered service with No. 1 Air Navigation School at Topcliffe the following year, but it was subsequently converted into a C-21 and used by the communications squadrons of bomber, fighter and transport commands.
Cameras at the ready. This will be the last pass for the Dragon Rapide.
They just got in and the one on the end was testing his rudder. The one on the end was testing his rudder. No, I know they went up there. They're over there.
Lovely sight as Mark Miller breaks away in the Dragon Rapide. He'll be turning round to come in to land on the grass. Meanwhile, the Anson is off to RAF Mildenhall, where he's going to pick up the Belgian F-16 pilot. An interesting pair of air taxis for the Belgians today.